Good morning. Jin Kazama. Fight! Forest Law. Fight! Paul Phoenix. Fight! Huanang. Fight! King. Fight! Eddie Gordo. Fight! Lei Wulan. Fight! Lin Xiaoyu. Fight! Yoshimitsu. Fight! Brian Fury. Fight! Yoshi Mishima. Fight! Nina Williams. Fight! Anna Williams. Fight! Julia Chan. Fight! Gunjack. Fight! One. One. Ogre. Fight. Ogre. Fight. Panda. Fight. Ivanovich. Fight! Gun. Fight. Fight! Chicken.